So I posted this design and you guys loved it. Instagram, Twitter did really, really well. So of course I have to make a tutorial on this, how I created the keyboard and how you can create your own custom keyboards too. So there's a lot of really cool things going on in here. One, I'm going to show you how to create a procedural kind of fingerprint plastic. We're going to create that cutting board type with this really nice design, lots of detail there. The keyboard, the projecting, all of this. So there's a lot of cool things in here. Again, most of my tutorials, I always say it, there's a lot of cool things here that's transferable to other things, but this one is really, really true. Really cool procedural material stuff going on here. So let's dive right into it. So first I would decide what you want the keyboard to say. We're not making like a real keyboard, we're making keys, maybe I don't know, a custom thing. It doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get a cube and make the keys. So I'm going to hit the tilde key. I'm going to go to the front. I'm going to hit tab here, and then I'm just going to hit control and move it up so that the anchor point is at the very bottom of this cube. That's what we want. And then we're going to get about the size of the keys we want, something like this. I'm going to hit tab and go to face select, and we're going to go ahead and hit S and scale this in and drop it down. You can use a reference. I've done this so many times, I have it memorized, but go ahead and use a reference. If you want, honestly, look down at the keyboard you're looking at. But I want my keys to be a little bit thicker than the keyboard that I'm using, so we're going to go with this design here. We can go ahead and bevel it if we want, but one thing you'll notice on a lot of keyboards is the bevel on these things is bigger than the bevel here. So what we're going to do is manually bevel these side pieces. So I'm going to hit Control A and apply that scale. We're going to go to Edge Select and just select these side pieces. And what we're going to do is figure out what, excuse me, we're going to figure out the size of the bevel we want on these keys here. So I'm going to go to something like this, and then I'm going to go back to edit mode, and we already have these guys selected. And then we're going to go here to bevel and make it a little greater. And then I'm going to use my scroll wheel to bevel, to do the beveling. So this is kind of your classic key. And then you can also select the bottom here and bevel that as well. Not that we're really going to see the bottom. And that kind of messed everything up. No, it didn't. We're going to do a profile here. There we go. Something like this. Okay, so this is our key. So D-U-C-K-Y, 3D, that's 7 words. So we're going to do an array. And then I'm going to figure out the spacing I want for each. Something like that. And then, of course, a count of 7. Enter. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and do one more. Actually, we'll just leave it. I did one more with my logo on it, but the process is exactly the same. So we're just going to leave it. So these are my keys. And then what I'm going to do is hover over right here and hit Control A, and we're going to apply that. And the reason why is because we need the UVs of all of these. So that's the game. So these are that's that. I'm gonna hit Tab, hit A to have everything selected, and I'm just gonna move this guy directly to the center. And then this guy, I guess, is the middle child. Is he? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So he's the middle child, so we'll leave him there. Let's go ahead and create a box to keep this whole thing in. So I'm going to use a cube, scale it out to here. I'm going to go here to the ghost mode. I don't even think it's called ghost mode. I definitely made that up. But we're going to just do this. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and right click. First off, I'm going to go to edit mode, go to face select, and select that face. Go to front view here and just kind of cover it up to there. That will probably look pretty good. And then we'll go back to regular view. And we can always change this later. I'm not even using a reference. We're just going off the dome. So we can actually go farther down. I want it to be like this. And then the keys, we can just kind of shove them in there like this. Now what we need to do is hit Control A and apply scale. Now we're going to go to the top. Now I'm just going to go to edit mode and select this top face. I'm going to hit I to inset. and inset this. So I'm going to do it again, but we're here at the top. So I inset something like this. I'm going to go ahead and look at my reference. Now what we need to do, I'm going to hit the tilde key and go to the top. I'm going to hit I and make sure you select this top face. So you can just select it like that. And then I'm going to hit I to inset and bring it pretty close to the keys, something like this. And you may need to go ahead and manually select, see how it's not like perfect. So if you want it to be perfect, you can just select that edge and bring it close, and select this edge and bring it close. Or you can make everything the same size as this gap. Honestly, this gap is too big. Should have made it smaller. But, you know, we're all getting the idea here. So what I'm going to do now is select the face that we inset, X faces. There we go. And then what you can do, I'm going to hide this guy. And then we can actually go ahead and select the edges and then hit E, Z, and bring it all the way down. I am not the greatest poly modeler, so I'm sure I broke a rule there. But now we can go ahead and just bevel this thing that we just created. So bevel. And there we go. We have our mechanical keyboard thing set up. Again, that gap is too big, and I wish I can go back in time and make this look better. So here's what we have so far. Again, I would make that gap smaller. In fact, what you can do is go into edit mode. If your gap is too big too, hit F3, separate by loose parts. They're all separated. And so then you can just go ahead and manually bring them closer together. So I'm going to do that. All right, there we go. Now what you can do is just select them all again, now that they're all, and hit Control J, and they're all back to being one object again. So if we look at it in cycles, get those shadows nice. There we go. It looks better. I'm happier with this. So there you go. Solved a little problem, but running on the go. Now let's go ahead and design our chords. So I'm just going to select everything and bring it up to the base here. And there we go. That's the base. So let's go ahead and design our string. So I'm going to get a floor, and then I'm just going to turn on shadow so we can see nice things. And then we're going to go, I'm going to hit the tilde key and go to the top, and we're going to go ahead and get in a curve, a Bezier, or actually no, we need just a regular path. And then I'm going to bring it up, and then I'm going to hit tab and make the anchor point, which is this green guy right here. For me, it's green. Might be a different color for you. And make the anchor point the edge. That's just what I like to do. I don't even know if it makes the workflow better, but we need one wire, one cord to make this look like, you know, you want it to make sense. You want your keyboard to make sense. Then what we're going to do is go here to the curve settings, to the geometry, and bring that depth up. And make the chord as thick as you want it to be. You can make it crazy. You can, you know, make it funny. I don't know. And then I'm going to go to the front view and see this guy. I'm going to hit E. And then I guess X. Yeah, E, and then X, E, X, E, X, and extrude him, I guess, to all the way off. I want it to be long enough to come off here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the front view again, and let's make it look like an actual chord that's hanging down. So I'm actually just going to take everything, right-click and subdivide it, and then I'm just going to go to right here, and then what you could do is just bring it down like that, make it touch the ground. Cool. So now he's hanging down, and then you can take, say, this guy, and then click on this, proportional editing. Here's what's fun. Just move it, and then move your scroll wheel so it looks a little organic. Cool. So now we have our wire, and then I'm going to go ahead and get a cylinder, RY90. We're going to hit RY90, and then bring him over here. Should have subdivided him farther, but that's okay. We're going to shrink it down make it about that much bigger. And then don't mind my cat. She's about to start making dinging noises in the background. But this is Patreon. And we can do whatever we want. So now I'm going to take this middle one. I'm going to hit I to inset it. And then I'm going to hit EX, bring it in. And then you can go ahead and bevel like that. So now we have this, and then you can you can take it and move it in a little bit if you want. Turn off proportional to make it kind of hug the chord. There we go. So now this whole thing looks good and makes sense. We have our mechanical keyboard. Next thing I'm going to do is show you how to project this whole thing. We're going to add materials. We're going to add lighting. So I'll see you in part 2.